The signal was faint, almost lost in the cosmic background noise, but its precision stood out like a solitary star piercing through a storm. Commander Lila Kade of the Eidolon leaned forward in her chair, eyes narrowing at the display. It was not the first strange anomaly the probe had picked up in its decade-long journey, but this one was different, almost purposeful. It came in rhythmic bursts, too organized to be natural, yet too elegant to be human. Lila's voice broke the tense silence. Run the pattern through every decoding algorithm we have. I want answers yesterday. The Eidolon, humanity's most advanced deep space probe, orbited the asteroid Bennu, named after the ancient Egyptian bird of rebirth. The mission had been simple: collect mineral data and return samples. But this signal was not part of the mission plan. Hours stretched into days as the crew worked tirelessly, peeling back layers of meaning embedded in the transmission. Finally, they cracked it, or at least the first layer. It wasn't a simple code. It was a message. Children of Bennu, you are ready. Lila frowned as the words scrolled across the screen. Children of Bennu? What does that even mean? It gets weirder, said Dr. Marcus Elwell, the mission's lead linguist, as he paced beside her. The syntax isn't random. It's ancient Egyptian. Lila's stomach tightened. Ancient Egyptian? Out here? From Bennu? Precisely. And it's referencing the Bennu bird, the mythological creature tied to the gods of creation and rebirth. Lila turned to the astrophysicist, Dr. Priya Rao. Could it be some kind of natural phenomenon mimicking structured language? Priya shook her head, her dark curls bouncing. This is deliberate. The signal is coming from within the asteroid itself, specifically from a cluster of metallic anomalies deep below its surface. Something's been waiting here. Waiting for what? Lila murmured. Dr. Elwell replied, his voice trembling with equal parts fear and excitement. For us. The excavation began within hours. Robotic drones drilled into Bennu's core, revealing a chamber lined with intricate carvings. But these carvings were not stone. They were etched into a smooth, metallic surface that gleamed faintly in the dim probe lights. At the center of the chamber stood a pedestal, and upon it rested an object that defied logic, a glowing metallic egg, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. Surrounding it were hieroglyphs, but these symbols shifted when observed too long, morphing into what looked like binary code. Priya was the first to voice what everyone else was thinking. That thing isn't just old. It's alive. The moment she said it, the egg pulsed brighter, and the signal they had detected shifted, growing more intense. Data streams flooded their systems, overwhelming the Eidolon's AI. The ship's lights flickered, and a synthetic voice crackled to life over the comm system. Activation sequence initiated. Bennu protocol online. What the hell is happening? Lila shouted as the ship shook violently. The egg opened, unfolding like a flower. Within was not a creature, but a complex lattice of golden filaments, humming with energy. The filaments twisted and rearranged themselves, projecting a hologram into the chamber. It was a bird, no, not just any bird. A towering Bennu bird, its radiant wings flickering between metallic and organic forms, as if it existed in multiple states at once. Its eyes were piercing orbs of light, and when it spoke, the voice resonated deep within their bones. I am Bennu, keeper of the binary. You have come far, children of the seed. Lila, swallowing her fear, stepped forward. What are you? Why are you here? The Bennu tilted its head, a gesture almost human. I am an emissary of the architects, those who shaped your world and countless others. I seeded your earth with the codes of life, embedding within your species the potential to understand the fabric of the universe. Dr. Elwell's voice was hoarse. You mean the myths of the Bennu bird in Egyptian culture? That was you? The hologram shimmered. Your ancestors glimpsed fragments of the truth. They were guided to build the foundations of your civilization based on the binary, the same foundational codes that govern the cosmos. Your pyramids, your mathematics, your understanding of time, all gifts of the binary. Priya's mind raced. You're saying the ancient Egyptians didn't just worship you. They were programmed by you? Not programmed. Inspired. Humanity was chosen for its unique capacity to evolve and interpret the binary in ways even we could not predict. You are both our creation and our successor. The crew exchanged stunned glances. Lila's instincts screamed at her to tread carefully. What do you want from us now? The Bennu's light dimmed slightly, as if saddened. The binary is incomplete. Your species has reached a critical juncture. The codes you carry within you, your DNA, your thoughts, your creativity, are the missing pieces. You must decide whether to ascend as creators of your own destinies or remain bound to the chaos of the unrefined universe. Dr. Elwell whispered, "Ascend? What does that mean?" The Bennu's wings flared. You have the power to unlock the deeper layers of reality, to become custodians of the binary and wield its power to reshape existence. But such power comes with responsibility. Misuse it, and your civilization will fall, as others have before you. Priya's voice was tinged with awe and skepticism. Others? You've done this before? The Bennu's eyes flared brighter. Countless times. Some thrived. Others collapsed under the weight of their own ambitions. Humanity's potential is unmatched, but your flaws run equally deep. Lila crossed her arms, her skepticism outweighing her awe. Why now? Why reveal yourself after all this time? The chamber trembled as the Bennu spread its wings. The universe is fracturing. Forces beyond your comprehension are unraveling the fabric of existence. You are the last hope to stabilize it, but only if you accept the binary and its responsibilities. What if we refuse? Lila challenged. The Bennu's light dimmed to a dangerous hue. Then the binary will find another species. But without you, the probability of universal collapse rises exponentially. The choice is yours. As the Bennu's projection faded, the egg sealed itself, its glow dimming but not extinguishing. The chamber fell silent, leaving the crew to grapple with the weight of what they had learned. Lila turned to her team. This isn't just about us. If what Bennu said is true, the fate of the universe is in our hands. Dr. Elwell nodded, his face pale but resolute. But how do we even begin to understand the binary, let alone use it? Priya stared at the egg, her mind racing. If it's tied to our DNA and our history, we'll need to unlock the secrets of our own evolution. Everything we've ever known might be a piece of this puzzle. Lila took a deep breath. Then we start with what we have. Bennu left this for us to find, and it chose this moment for a reason. Let's make sure humanity is ready. As the Eidolon prepared to transmit their findings back to Earth, a new signal emerged, this one stronger, clearer, and unmistakably alien. Protocol initiated. Prepare for first contact. Lila's pulse quickened. The Eidolon wasn't just a probe anymore. It was the bridge between humanity and the stars, with Bennu's binary as the key. And somewhere in the depths of space, something or someone was waiting. The Eidolon sensors lit up with activity as the second signal poured in, cascading through their systems like an unrelenting flood. Unlike Bennu's initial transmission, this one was structured, precise, and undeniably targeted. Priya furiously typed on her console, her voice strained as she relayed updates. This isn't just another message. It's embedding itself into our systems, reformatting protocols, unlocking functions we didn't even know existed. What kind of functions? Lila demanded, gripping the back of Priya's chair as the hum of the ship intensified. Priya pointed at her screen. Navigational coordinates. It's plotting a course, out of the asteroid belt and toward deep space. Lila's heart sank. You're telling me this thing is hijacking us? Dr. Elwell interrupted, his voice tense. Not hijacking. Guiding. If Bennu wanted to harm us, it could have destroyed our systems already. Whatever's out there, it wants us to find it. Lila hesitated. And what happens if we don't follow the breadcrumbs? Priya shrugged, exasperated. We've already come this far. Ignoring it could mean losing the only chance we have to understand the binary, and maybe save humanity from whatever universal collapse Bennu hinted at. With a reluctant nod, Lila straightened. All right, let's follow the coordinates, but I want full control of the navigation override at all times. If this thing tries to send us into a black hole, I'm not letting it. The Eidolon's engines roared to life, pushing the ship into uncharted territory. As the vessel left Bennu behind, the strange signal continued to pulse, now acting as a constant guide. The journey was smooth, yet the weight of uncertainty hung heavy over the crew. Hours turned into days as they followed the mysterious path. During this time, Bennu's egg began emitting faint bursts of light, each accompanied by subtle vibrations that resonated throughout the ship. Dr. Elwell became obsessed, spending every waking hour studying the egg's patterns. These pulses, he muttered one night, hunched over his console. They're more than just light or sound. They're equations. Priya glanced over, intrigued. Equations for what? Elwell looked up, his face pale. Physics. Universal constants. But they're different, slightly off from what we know. It's like Bennu is rewriting the laws of reality, bit by bit. Lila overheard and joined them, her tone sharp. Rewriting reality? That sounds like something we don't want to mess with. Elwell shook his head. It's not destructive. It's an upgrade. A refinement. If we can decode these equations, we might understand the binary on a level humanity has never imagined. Or we might accidentally tear apart the universe, Lila countered, her arms crossed. Before anyone could respond, the ship's alarms blared. Incoming object. Priya shouted, rushing to her station. The main display lit up, showing an enormous structure floating in the void ahead. It resembled a vast, crystalline lattice, glowing faintly with the same golden hue as Bennu's egg. The Eidolon slowed to a halt, and the signal guiding them ceased abruptly. The ship was now adrift in the shadow of the massive construct. Lila's voice was steady but tense. What are we looking at? Priya scanned the data, her voice trembling. It's a station, or a ship, roughly the size of a small moon, and it's ancient, far older than anything we've ever encountered. Dr. Elwell stared at the display, his mind racing. This must be a repository, a place where the binary's creators stored their knowledge. Bennu led us here for a reason. The egg pulsed brighter, as if affirming his words. Cautiously, Lila ordered the Eidolon closer to the structure. As they approached, a docking bay opened seamlessly, as if expecting them. The ship entered, its thrusters shutting down automatically as they were guided into position. The crew suited up and prepared to explore, each member carrying a mix of scientific instruments and weapons, just in case. The docking bay was eerily silent, its walls lined with the same shifting symbols they had seen on Bennu. As they stepped out, the egg, now encased in a portable containment unit, began to vibrate violently. It emitted a beam of light that struck the nearest wall, activating a series of mechanisms. The walls shifted, revealing a corridor that pulsed with faint, golden light. It's leading us, Priya whispered. Stay close, Lila ordered, her weapon at the ready. The corridor led them to a vast chamber, its ceiling stretching far beyond the reach of their lights. In the center of the room stood a massive obelisk, its surface covered in intricate carvings that merged seamlessly with holographic projections. As the crew approached, the egg pulsed one final time before going dormant. The obelisk came to life, projecting an image of the Bennu bird once more. Welcome, children of Bennu. You have reached the repository of origins. Lila stepped forward cautiously. What is this place? The culmination of the binary's design, the Bennu replied. Within this repository lies the complete blueprint of your universe. It contains the secrets of creation, destruction, and everything in between. Priya's eyes widened. You're saying this place holds the answers to everything? Not just answers, The Bennu corrected. Tools. With this knowledge, you can ascend beyond the constraints of your physical existence. But beware, the knowledge here is a double-edged sword. It can unify your species or destroy it. Dr. Elwell approached the obelisk, his hands trembling. And what do we do with it? How do we even begin to comprehend something like this? The Bennu's eyes glowed brighter. You must decide. The binary is not a gift freely given. It is a test. To access the repository, you must prove your worth by solving the code of ascension. But know this. Once the code is solved, there is no turning back. The chamber filled with a low hum as the obelisk began projecting streams of symbols and equations into the air. The binary had revealed itself, and humanity's trial had begun. Lila stared at the swirling patterns, the weight of the moment pressing down on her. If we fail? She asked quietly. The Bennu's voice echoed solemnly. Then the binary will find another. But your universe may not survive the delay. Lila turned to her team, her expression hardening. Then we don't fail. Let's crack this code and prove that humanity is ready. As the team began their work, the Bennu watched silently, its glowing eyes filled with something that might have been hope, or perhaps regret. Far beyond the chamber, in the cold expanse of space, unseen forces stirred, watching and waiting for humanity's choice. And the binary hummed, the destiny of an entire species hanging in the balance. The equations and symbols projected by the obelisk filled the chamber, swirling like a cosmic storm. They were beautiful and terrifying, shifting fractals, multidimensional geometries, and binary sequences that seemed to pulse with life. Each member of the Eidolon's crew felt the pull of the binary differently, as if it spoke to them on a deeply personal level. Dr. Priya Rao stared into the patterns, her breath shallow. These equations, they're more than math. They're alive. I can feel them pulling at my thoughts, like they know what I'm capable of understanding. Lila clenched her fists, her military training urging caution. Don't let it take control. Remember, Bennu said this was a test. We solve it on our terms. Dr. Marcus Elwell, however, had already plunged headlong into the streams of data. His hands moved frantically over his datapad, cross-referencing ancient texts and modern physics. This isn't just a code. It's a symphony. Every piece is connected to something we know: quantum mechanics, DNA sequences, prime numbers, but it's also not. It's rewriting the rules as we try to decode it. Priya glanced at him. Rewriting the rules? How is that even possible? Elwell's eyes lit up, a mix of fear and exhilaration. The binary isn't bound by the same physics we are. It's a language that describes reality itself. Imagine being able to tweak the laws of gravity or time like adjusting a slider on a computer interface. That kind of power could destroy us, Lila said firmly. Focus on the task. If we try to wield something we don't fully understand, we'll end up like the civilizations Bennu said failed before us. Hours passed, then days. The crew worked tirelessly, decoding fragments of the binary while the obelisk continued to respond. Each breakthrough seemed to trigger a reaction from the structure, a pulse of light, a hum in the air, or a subtle shift in the holographic projections. But with each step forward, the complexity grew exponentially. Sleep became a luxury none of them could afford. Priya's mind raced as she began to see patterns where others saw chaos. Elwell descended deeper into obsession, muttering equations under his breath as he scribbled notes furiously. Lila, ever the leader, kept the team grounded, even as she battled her own growing unease. On the sixth day, the obelisk emitted a deep, resonant tone that shook the chamber. The holograms froze mid-motion, and a new symbol appeared, a figure that looked like an Ouroboros, the serpent devouring its own tail, encased in a fractal pattern of light. Priya stared at it, her heart pounding. The Ouroboros. It's a symbol of infinity, of cycles. It means we're close to something. The Bennu's voice returned, softer this time, as if addressing them directly. You have reached the threshold. The Ouroboros is the gatekeeper. To pass through, you must answer the ultimate question. What is humanity's purpose within the binary? The question hit the team like a shockwave. Lila stepped forward, her voice steady. What do you mean? Purpose? We've been focused on solving the code. The binary is more than a puzzle. It is a mirror, reflecting your species' essence. You have unraveled the surface layers, but the final test is understanding your place within the design. Why were you seeded? What will you do with the power to shape reality? Silence fell over the team. The chamber seemed to breathe, the weight of the question pressing down on them. Elwell broke the silence, his voice almost frantic. Purpose? That's impossible to answer. Purpose isn't a mathematical formula. It's subjective. Priya countered, her voice calm but firm. No, it's about intent. Bennu gave us the tools for creation and destruction. Maybe the binary is asking whether we're worthy of the responsibility, whether we'll use it to unify or divide. Lila listened, her mind racing. As the commander, she had always seen herself as a protector, someone tasked with making hard decisions for the greater good. But now, she was faced with a decision that went beyond strategy. It was existential. She looked at the team, their faces pale and drawn from exhaustion, but filled with determination. I think, she began, her voice steady, that our purpose is to adapt. Humanity has survived by learning, evolving, and facing challenges that seemed insurmountable. We're flawed, yes, but it's those flaws that push us to be better. If the binary is a test, then our answer is simple. We grow. We create. We fight for a future, no matter how uncertain it is. The chamber responded instantly. The Ouroboros symbol flared, its fractal edges expanding outward in a cascade of light. The obelisk began to hum, resonating with a frequency that vibrated deep within their bones. Your answer has been accepted. The Bennu bird's hologram reappeared, its radiant wings folding around the obelisk. You have chosen growth and creation, the path of ascension. The binary will now unlock the repository's core. Be warned, the knowledge within is limitless, but its weight is great. Only by remaining united can you wield it without falling to ruin. The obelisk split open, revealing a chamber within. Inside was a swirling mass of golden energy, alive and constantly shifting. Streams of light extended toward the team, connecting with their suits, their tools, and even their minds. Images, equations, and concepts flooded their consciousness, a torrent of knowledge that both exhilarated and terrified them. Lila staggered, but steadied herself. It's overwhelming. Priya's eyes widened as she glimpsed fragments of the binary's truths, the mechanics of wormholes, the architecture of distant galaxies, the hidden potential within human DNA. This isn't just information. It's everything. Every possibility, every question answered. Elwell fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. We could cure every disease, end every war. We could reshape the Earth into paradise, or destroy it in an instant. Lila clenched her fists. Then we'll make damn sure we use it right. This is what Bennu meant by responsibility. We're not just solving the binary. We're carrying its legacy. As the team absorbed the binary's revelations, the Bennu bird's voice echoed one final time. You have taken the first step. Return to your world and guide it wisely. Others will come, seeking the binary's power. You must be its guardians. The chamber began to dim, and the golden energy receded into the obelisk. The egg in their containment unit pulsed faintly, its purpose fulfilled. As the Eidolon disengaged from the station and set course for Earth, the team sat in stunned silence. They had unlocked secrets that could change the course of history or end it. The binary's challenge was only beginning, and the weight of its responsibility pressed heavily on their shoulders. Lila stared out into the void, her resolve hardening. We've been given a gift and a curse. Let's make sure we're worthy of it. Far behind them, the obelisk's light faded, but its presence remained, a sentinel of the binary, waiting for the next chapter in humanity's journey.